Come on, go.
Go.
Go. I'm Pat.
I'm Will.
I'm Jeffrey.
We're back.
Yeah, it's good to see you guys.
Good seeing everyone.
Likewise. What's new?
I'm working days.
Gross.
Yeah, really gross for you. My day starts at 5.
That's basically still the night, William.
5 a.m.
Oh, okay.
But it's been good because I can actually drop the kid. Like, they let me work from home until like 8 to make sure all the kids get off school, and then I go into the office.
Oh, so you get like paid for your commute?
A little bit. I stay a little bit late just because I feel.
Do you have
I
to?
haven't been told, but my
Oh.
moral obligation
Yeah, okay.
is kind of there.
So, yeah, what was that called? Negotiation? So you put your flag on the wrong side of the post. So
He did say that if people complain, then I might lose this. So if it looked like I'm getting
okay.
free stuff out of it
Yeah,
on top of getting to come in late,
So you have coworkers who don't have kids who would be like,
what the hell?
Yeah, exactly.
Yep,
So, yeah.
So just to kind of make everybody be like, all right, he's actually working his shift.
Will, I would totally be one of those guys that would look at the kid penalty, but I would also look at, based on what you described, there's no harm because there's never anything going on.
There's very little. Although I am starting my training next week, so.
Oh, okay.
I finally got all my access.
training for what?
It's like a $10,000 training course that
Ouch.
they're paying for.
Oh, never mind.
But it kind of
Scratch that thought.
lets me put up a sign that says I'm kind of badass. So
So what is it, like Sec Plus or something?
it's beyond that. It's like this whole
Yeah,
organization that is strictly like it's Uber training.
Oh, okay.
So like one of the guys that's way up higher than me is doing the class, and he's like, "There's so much shit in here that I've never seen." Like, he's like, "It's amazing," and like he loves this stuff, so he's just like tickling his fingers as he's saying it and all this kind of stuff, and I'm like, all right, I can actually learn some things. That sounds good.
Yeah, okay.
So,
Oh, so do you get like the like compass like license plate covers, or are you like part of like the Masons of
we don't talk about it. We're that
Okay.
secret
The
society.
First rule of fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after he goes through this, he's gonna be one of those people that blinks sideways.
The first rule of Nerd Club.
Yeah.
We do not talk about
Except
cybersecurity
everybody
Nerd
that gets
Club.
one of these throws it on LinkedIn the instant they get it.
Well, of course. So they put it all in our GitHub projects and shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is
So-
GitHub?
GitHub is apparently where if you do anything in programming or any kind of creative design, you put your shit up there as basically your resume.
Well,
So
it's free programming, all this kind of stuff. So like it's got all sorts of like I actually put stuff on GitHub during my class, and it's been there for 2 years, and I have no idea. Like I think I've gotten warnings that it's
Yeah.
been infected with a virus or something. I
dun
don't know.
dun dun.
And I just am like, oh well, I don't even know how to sign back in. But
I think I've seen like people who do 3D modeling put their shit
Oh, yeah.
up there. Yeah, okay.
there's
Like
tons
for
of
free? These
yeah.
are like assets
yeah,
and
GitHub. You just
oh,
find it.
so this is like where a lot of people like pull their shit for like video games and things like
Oh.
that. Oh,
Well, they
okay.
put some stuff up there, and then if you want the good stuff, then you pay for it.
Okay,
So, yeah.
okay.
Like the 3D program I use, a lot of the programming is all just signs in from Git, pulls
Okay.
it. If they update it, it automatically searches there for an update, pulls it.
Got it. Okay, so it's the DeviantArt for programmers.
Yeah.
The what?
DeviantArt?
I have no idea what that is.
Oh, that's
I'm in 2 worlds. I'm like the one that knows 2 different worlds.
holy
This
shit.
never has happened.
This never has happened.
Well, it happens all the time.
Hit the button now.
Football.
No.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, there's not a parallel world that like you know that you and Jeff are in that. Like this has never happened for me.
I'm not
This-
in
this is
GitHub. I
brand-
just know what it is. So, yeah.
This is brand new for me. This is like,
Yeah, okay.
I get a balloon or
So
something. like that.
DeviantArt is where you put up like fucking art
Artwork
that you
and all
yeah,
that
okay,
stuff.
got it. All right.
That's where people, sign
It's
up for
their
commissions
resume,
and-
yeah.
Oh, okay, all right.
So
Yeah. No, my art career died in college, so
yeah.
that was before the internet.
I'd argue that it didn't die. It was killed.
I drowned it in a
Yeah,
bathtub.
I was gonna
man.
say, yeah,
So,
you-
I was
like,
tempted.
I'm sorry, this child is not going to walk right. So,
With how much college art wants abstract art, it's very frustrating.
the thing that burned me out of art was the amount of work. So it was like an insane fucking amount. He's like, fill this up. It was like, by when? By tomorrow. I was like, what? What?
Well,
So-
okay. Let's also discuss this when it comes to our particular styles, right? So they're big in college where they're going to give you a piece of newsprint or a paper, the size of a barn, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And given that I know all of us, what we do is, well, actually, my interest is drawing details on the head of a pin.
Right.
And they're like, no. In order
No.
to do this, you have to do these wide, sweeping, strokes and all this other stuff. And you're like, nah, I wouldn't turn that in.
That's the only way I made it through that class was I learned how to use Comic Crayon.
Well,
was
no,
like,
I did it because I had to.
Yeah.
Right?
They
But
told
it's
us to use a cattle mark.
completely. Oh,
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, this is not. Yeah.
And it's not to say there wasn't some fun in drawing with like charcoal sticks or anything like that. But if you're talking about what's antithetical to my nature,
100%.
and that's not their fault. I understand that there's a part where they're saying, dumbass, stop sitting there drawing like the individual, this on this, right? Capture the
individual
whole
hairs
gesture.
on the
Capture
dog.
the, but yeah, it's something that's very difficult, especially like, but I don't want to turn it in this way because this feels like I didn't work.
I don't. By the time I took drawing too, we do those. Remember those still lifes they'd set up where you'd have to change chairs every fucking day
Oh, yeah.
or something? And I got to the point in time where I would literally finish my shit in about 10 minutes. So I would just go that fucking fast. I'd be like, yeah, okay, I got the proportions right. We're good. I'm fucking done. Here it is. And be like, well, that's a B. It's like, perfect. Can I go now?
Like, wait, what am I really getting out of this?
Yeah. I was just getting to the end of the semester. So, because I took it once, drawing one, and it was from this guy who was just terrible. And then the second semester, drawing two, and figure drawing, I took both of those in the same semester. They were both taught by the same lady. And she was exactly as bad.
They're all the same.
I know. And I was just like, oh, fuck. And so, like, yeah, you did figure drawing, which I'm fucking terrible at. So, and I never got better at it because I never put any work into it. Because I didn't care.
Yeah.
About this after a little while. I was like, okay, I can do like the stick figure skeletons pretty good. So that's fine. Let me just like Marshmallow Man this thing up here a little bit, and we're gonna call it a win. And so I got a B in that class
that's
too.
what
I was
they're
like,
looking
fuck
for.
yeah. I was like, I'm good. So
Yeah, when the students are coming up to me and be like, oh my god, that looks so cool, and the teacher's like, C. It's like, screw this.
all they do is punch down, man.
Yeah,
So
this
yeah,
is
once you get out of
dumb.
middle school, our teachers punch down, man. Well, actually, we had Miss Green was pretty cool in high school. So,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah.
Actually, the whole set so Miss Green was.
She was the only one I ever had in high school. So,
I don't remember my teachers' names.
yeah.
Well, so
Thanks,
I'm guessing. Okay, so I'm trying to remember the name. There were three. Ms. Green was the one who did that and photography, right? Those were her two bags. The chair was Mrs. Christensen, I think. And then the one that taught AP was Mrs. Began with an M, and she was this mousy, woman, but she was awesome. I can't remember her name though.
I only ever had Miss Green. I only took one art class in all of high school. So
I took art.
yes,
Yeah, I went all the way through. I had to do the AP portfolio and all that stuff.
I took it
so.
with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I do AP art? I don't know
I
if
did not do
did.
AP art. So-
I think I took all the other. I took so many. I don't know if I did AP art. I have no idea.
I had a couple of AP classes, but not that many.
What did I
But,
have? I had U.S. and European history and English. Those
I
are the
had
three that I got.
Those I had macroeconomics, calculus.
I wish I had taken micro and macro, but I was too dumb. So
Did you
back
take that
then.
with Peterson?
I don't have a clue.
Was he big into hockey? If he was, that
Again,
was Mr.
COVID.
Peterson.
Yeah, it's 20.
I forgot most of this stuff.
It's coming
before
up on
COVID.
30 fucking years
Yeah,
now, man.
I
So, I mean,
know.
that is...
What, you guys don't remember this? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
no,
okay, all right,
yeah.
all right. No, hold on one second. Okay, because this came up, this came up, and this was something that I had to give serious thought to, right? So on one of the other shows I was listening to, it was, so you basically, your brain right now, okay, whatever slipstream technology, wormhole, whatever, your brain essentially goes into your 5-year-old body, okay? Now the thing is, you have...
Wait, this is a hypothetical?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No,
No,
we're doing this right now.
Well, I thought, yeah, I didn't know what you were... I didn't
If
know
you
how
take the
setting
blue
that
pill,
up.
you
Yeah.
know.
Oh, yes. Well, so, all right. But the condition is you don't know how long it's going to be in there, right? You could go to sleep and it's gone. It could be permanent. It could be half a day, right? So the question is, at that point, you're 5. Remember, your voice is coming out of a 5-year-old, right? What are you going to do at that point, right? To either tell yourself things, write things down, tell your parents things. How would you convince your parents that you are actually from the future and they're not like, well, you're an idiot, right? This is just stuff that kids make up.
I would start telling them what stocks to pick and just wait.
But no, you're going back in the past.
Right.
Yeah.
You're now today
Right.
5, so you don't know the stocks to pick.
Well, you know
Wait a minute,
them.
I'm confused.
You would know. So whatever that year is, because you guys are a couple years, you're going to basically.
So I'm
you're
going back to
5.
1980, whatever.
Yes.
Oh, we go back in time.
Yes.
I thought we are going into a 5-year-old body right now.
But I've
No,
got a
no.
40-some-year-old brain.
You have everything that you know from
Yeah,
now.
I would just tell them what stocks to pick and say, you know,
Marty, I picked the Super Bowl. With
yeah, there you go.
But
Pick the
this
Super Bowl
this
winners.
is the thing: is why would they trust you to know these answers? How could they know that you know this instead of just making shit up?
Well,
What would you say to get them to believe you?
I would tell them wait 6 months. So, and then we'll have this conversation again after the Super Bowl.
Well, that's the thing. You don't know how long you're going to be
It
in
could
the
be
body.
forever. So
Oh,
I'll
that's
take,
what I'm
but
saying.
it could be this minute.
I don't care. I'll take the up down on that. So if I'm
So
back in
what
3,
did I say right now?
Yeah.
To get to convince
The
them
immediate thing.
instead of saying like, "Oh, he's just a kid being a kid," right? What would you say to your parents to convince them that you're actually from the future, right? And because otherwise they could just say like, "Well, Pat came up and he just said, hey, I'm from the future. Let me
Yeah.
give you some stock tips," right?
Yeah, sure.
Your parents might be like, "What an asshole," right? He's just being a kid.
I think
Well,
like I hope my kids wouldn't, my parents wouldn't say that to me. They'd be like, "Oh, that's cute."
that's what I'm
That's
saying.
fine.
What I don't want is how do you, get them to say like that's not cute, but to believe in what you're telling.
I don't think you could in like, if I had to do it in a 10-minute conversation, because I don't know how long. Yeah, see, that's why I wouldn't even try in that situation. What I would do is I would go to my dad and say, "Dad, this is the year John Elway goes to the Super Bowl." And then if I get zapped out of my brain in 3 months, fine. Okay. But if I make it to 6, I might make it to a year. And then I tell my dad, "Dad, buy this Apple stock. It's not just a fruit company."
But okay, so is there anything that you could tell your parents, right? This is sort of like, the test in The Exorcist where you're demonstrating knowledge of things that you shouldn't, speaking a language that
Sure,
you
yeah.
can't. Is there anything that you could tell your parents about them that you know about them, but they know that you wouldn't know about them?
So that you knew something about their past, so that they
Right.
already have proof that it happened.
Yeah, okay.
Is there anything like that that you could think of that you would be like, okay, I can convince you? of
Yeah,
this?
sure. I could convince my parents pretty quick. Then, yeah.
I think that might be the best
There would be a
choice.
lot of very
Sounds good.
specific things where all of a sudden I could tell them what year they got married, what rank my dad was in the Air Force at that point in time.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
This is the stuff that I'm talking about.
that-
Yeah,
that-
like,
okay. I didn't
or-
think about that. That'd be easy.
or if you were to tell them, like, if you were to logically sit there and say, like, okay, so,
You tried to sign up for Vietnam, but they wouldn't let you.
yeah,
there you go, yeah.
this kind of
You're
thing.
like, wait, what?
Wait, what? Yeah.
All
Or
right, yeah, that okay.
Yeah, okay.
Well
That's
done.
fine.
I don't know
Yeah.
if they came up with that in the show. or
no,
if
they
you
kind of
just thought
they're
that.
like we don't know. But what I was trying to think of was, could I convince them if I was at that time, could I convince them of future events through the logical series of things? It's like, okay, so Dad, here's how this is going to work out. So Reagan would have just been elected for the second time, right? And so if I were to say like, okay, Dad, here's how things are going to work out. So the next president is going to be his vice president, George Bush, right? What's going to happen there in 1992 is there's going to be a runoff. A unknown named Bill Clinton comes out in 1992, totally upsets the.
Go to your room.
This is what I'm saying. It's like totally upsets California favorite Jerry Brown, right? And if I sit there and just broke that down, if I were to like, because
But then you're doing the stock thing.
Yeah,
about
it's
predicting
the same thing as the
future
stock
and,
thing,
and
man.
all that kind of stuff.
I think your tactic of actually like things that your parents would not have shared with you at 5, but you knew by the time you were 40.
But would they think that you're possessed?
that's the thing. Is like, how do
possible.
they know this, right? And that's what I'm saying. Like, if I turn around, like, I'm going to convince my dad at that point. It's like, actually, Dad, the Berlin Wall is going to fall here. Cold War is going to be over by this point, right?
I think they'd rather have the stock information.
I think
Well, no, I'm still going to give them that, right? I just want them to believe, like, how do you know I'm from the future? Listen to these things.
Just write it down and give it to them, and then yeah, over time it'll manifest itself. Whether you get zapped back to your 45-year-old self or whatever.
But if you had to
So-
prove it just in that
Right.
tiny window,
I don't know if I have 5 minutes
I
or...
think bringing up stuff from their past that they're like, there's no way you should know.
I think I would give it a couple days, just because if it came down to it, if it was 5 minutes, it'd be irrelevant. If all I had was 5 minutes of time to spend to go talk to my 5-year-old self, it'd be fucking irrelevant because I'd totally miss it. And if I try to convince my parents, it'd be like, oh man, that kid had a fever that day.
I want them. I absolutely. I'd try to maximize the time and be like, all right. So if I'm going to like, this is the thing that I'd want to tell my dad here, right? Is so if I have choices, if I look at like, Dad, so here's what I have to tell you. It's like what? It's like, so you don't know this yet, right? And you have no way to know this, but at this point, you're going to develop this cancer from asbestos, right?
There's get tested early.
That's the thing is like, that's the stuff I want to break down to him. Is like, look, you're going to catch lung cancer, and my dad's going to look at his pack of cigarettes and say, yeah, I figured. It's like, no, it has nothing to do with that.
Yeah, no.
It has nothing to do with that. You're going to catch cancer from
Well, did they
asbestos.
even know about the cancer thing that bad at?
In the 80s, asbestos.
Yeah,
I think
'cause-
so.
Well, no, cancer from cigarettes.
Yeah, because John
Oh,
Wayne
yeah,
and
John Wayne.
Was it already? Okay.
yeah.
I didn't know if it was already a
Steve
movement at that
McQueen.
point.
Yeah, there were a lot of people that were checking out. for
Well,
it.
that's also when all the. I mean, that was a little bit before the panels with the tobacco companies. That was later. That was early 90s.
Yeah. Mad Men
So-
days was over.
Mad Men days was kind of over, but I mean, I remember being a kid and everybody smoking on an airplane. So,
Oh yeah.
So
It
but-
wasn't a thing not to smoke. In the
Yeah, I
house.
don't know if I'd fuck with their timeline like that though, man. This is
That's
why
the other dangerous part. Is like,
I hate
I don't
this shit,
know.
man.
I don't know.
So I mean,
The consequence.
Yeah.
That was not part of this equation.
yeah.
But if I can, if I can sit there and give it to him and say, like, look, this is how this is going to go. And the only way to do this is to, check on this, right? Like, if I didn't even give that information, I feel like I'd be derelict.
Maybe. It's also kind of selfish too, though. So,
Who's giving the stock?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I don't like fucking Kelvin timeline bullshit. So,
I know. But, that's one of those weird things. Like, all right, so I have limited opportunity. I have to say
Or
things.
maybe unlimited.
Or maybe, I don't know. I don't get to necessarily live in that
How would
future.
that mess with your head if you're stuck in a 5-year-old's body?
Oh my god, I would. Well, I don't ever believe in suicide, but that would be a pretty big
Oh,
thumb on one scale.
oh no way! The
Would you
potential,
play it up as like being the smartest kid in the world?
the potential for that would be just unlimited.
I don't want to fucking do it all over again.
I happily,
yeah.
so much I could mess with.
Oh yeah.
It's just unlimited potential. Just
I mean, but yeah, like everything that I've done would be basically undone at that point in time.
But he could be like the
So-
greatest video gamer on the planet.
I get it, but I mean, I would like lose my family, so fuck that. So
Oh.
well, you could,
Oh,
or you
this is
could.
the Tony Stark thing.
it is a Tony Stark.
You
thing.
might or you might not.
I wouldn't gamble with that, man. That's too big. That's too big a chip
Would
for
you
me to put on the
def-
table.
Oh, I get. Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
To try and rearrange it all to happen again.
Oh fuck.
Ooh.
With the foreknowledge of like, well, yeah. I mean, you
Oh,
fuck it
man.
up. It's like trying
Yeah.
to walk through a minefield again after you've already walked through it once and made it, and be like, I think there's no mines over here. You know?
Well, I mean, what? Like, and obviously I don't want to air out, any dirty laundry here, but like, if you go through like those times where you say like, all right, in order for me to become the person who I am now, right, I had to go through these particular awful or embarrassing experiences.
Absolutely.
And I have the choice of either doing it again or sidestepping it.
Yeah,
right?
now we're going to the butterfly effect.
Yeah,
I know, and that's what I'm saying. 5 minutes, totally understand, right? A lifetime, I don't know. There is a part of me that would enjoy the crap out of it where, there's just something about being relieved of certain anxieties, not to worry about, okay, actually, I know this is going to turn out fine.
If I didn't have kids.
Yes, I think our
Maybe.
perspectives are different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I didn't have kids, then, yeah, because then whatever comes up,
Right.
Hell yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
this is a great game for someone who's already lost everything or has nothing to lose. So,
Well, don't say that.
yeah.
Well,
Well, one way, I mean, I can see myself at, well, I mean, I didn't mean it like that, man. It's just,
all right.
I mean, if you're going to play the game again after yeah, no, I guess the better way to do it is, how far do you go playing through a game before you just say fuck it and decide to ride it all the way to the end, or you start over? So, do you see what I'm saying?
Of course.
So it makes sense early on, and it makes sense like maybe at the very end if you're like, oh fuck, this game is completely fucked, and you want to go through that part again.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not neither.
You're essentially save-scumming your own life, right?
Exactly. Yeah, seems coming your own life. Do
you want to write that down?
Good
Yeah,
to
you
have.
might want to write
Okay,
down.
That's good to have in the back pocket.
Okay. Well, and this is the rub on that one here is it's the uncertainty of it that makes it interesting to me, right? Because if you knew you were just dumped in your 5-year-old head, that would make perfect. Like you could sit there and just say like, "Hey, Dad, try this," right? "Hey, Dad, put $10 on the Broncos," right? And if you have a series of successes, they're going to be like, "What do you know?" Right? What is this? But if it's the idea that
then you're
you
going to
could
be taken by the government.
Yeah, exactly. The fucking CIA is gonna snag
Yeah.
you and throw you in a room, and fucking waterboard
You
you
know,
until you
no,
cough it
this
all
is
up.
not-
Yeah.
Like, because I was thinking, like, this was one of the things I was going to talk about, like, with Dad. I would say, like, because remember, this is, mid-'80s. I'm like, so, Dad, there is currently something you know about called the F-117A stealth fighter. Nobody else knows about this, right?
He'd be like, "Have you been looking in my briefcase?" And if so, go to your room.
And it's like, I want you to know that, yes, these things have crashed and people have thought that they're UFOs because they look so unusual. These will be used in like a 1992 conflict? No, 1993 Desert Storm?
91.
91. Okay, so these are going to be used in a 1991 conflict, Desert Storm, blah, 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 right? This is going to lead into something called the B-2 stealth bomber, right? And these would be things that my dad would know about, right?
Yeah. Although he never told me about them, so.
Now, keep in mind, too, of course, you are talking with the sophistication of your head coming out of your 5-year-old
Well, I mean,
body.
would your voice suddenly, would your language just suddenly switch? You're using way different words.
This is your brain, man, so it's your
They're gonna
vocal
call-
cords.
They're gonna
It's
call
your 5-year-old
the
vocal cords. but
Exorcist in.
That's
You can exercise you.
Dude, because you went from talking like a kid to now talking in like,
He speaks in tongues.
yeah, like, and you now know stuff that you shouldn't know. Yeah, we're calling in the big guns.
Do you have
man.
enough like Spanish to really mess with them? Hola, ¿cómo te llamas?
You're gone, man.
Uh,
This is not a good combination. I don't see a 5-minute conversation in any way going well, because it's not like your whole speech would totally change.
I know that's what
I think it would ruin your life over time. I've had this thought experiment with my brother a couple
Yeah?
times.
Okay.
Yeah, but we did it different. It wasn't like shit. It was like you get a special superpower. Your ability is like the same as Jesus's. You can heal anything.
that's
Okay.
How long does it take before your life goes completely fucksword on that one? So, because
I
people are
can
going to
heal
find out
anything?
about it. People are going to find out about it. And people are going to come to you with horrible fucking problems. So that you can fix just by touching them on the forehead.
Yeah.
Your life goes backwards pretty quick because your line goes out your door within 5 minutes. So once people like actually is like, oh no,
Yeah, but you're gonna get sponsored by some mega company. You put up, it's an appointment.
Are you?
Yeah, yeah.
So what do we do? Do we charge people for? Do you feel right about that?
Well, a company does.
Yeah, well, fuck the company. You're the one doing all the work.
Well, yeah, but
So
but that's what the company will provide is that space to let you have freedom
yeah, I doubt that.
in your own personal little
Yeah.
world. You gotta charge
I
money.
don't think
No,
Yeah.
your problem on that is I agree with you. The only problem on that is triage, right? Because
Right.
you could easily say like because the simple thing is like, all right, you set it up like fucking Lucy's psychiatric stand, and you just say like, come give me a high five, you're fine,
Yeah.
right? You set up the line, but yeah, just hit me, you're good, right?
Yeah.
Because that's no problem, and you take shifts. You're just like, all right, we're gonna go 2 hours. I'm gonna go smoke, and then come back, do that, take lunch. But the problem there is like, well, so what about the people that can't get up? What about the people that can't travel
You
here?
create the narrative. So if you're the one that can heal, and you can just heal somebody with a touch,
Oh yeah.
it's a process for you. You say it takes me 2 weeks. Tell me your symptoms. I have to meditate on it for 2 weeks, and then I come back and see you. And in that time, I've now can know what's going on within your system. You make up a whole bunch of jargon and stuff like this, and then, bam.
But I mean, you have a power that can legitimately help a lot of people, and you're going to put all these parameters around it like that. And not feel
Otherwise, you're
guilty?
going to get swarmed.
Well, yeah, I guess
Well,
that's
you
the
get swarmed.
point. Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess that's the point. If you're imbued with any kind of superpower, all right, it's basically going to fuck your life over.
Nah,
Yeah.
you make it work.
It depends. Well, what do you mean? Fuck any kind of superpower was gonna fuck.
Well,
your
I
life
guess
over?
anything that would be counted as cool. So, I mean, what would you? I mean, I'm sure there's a bunch of dumb superpowers out there that wouldn't matter. It's like, oh, I can light a stove, with my mind, but I can't make fire. I can
Okay,
just turn
yes,
the knob.
you're right, and you know
Yeah,
what? And I
you know.
can do it with a grill lighter. That's a good point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. So,
but-
if you have something dumb like that, then no, so
no, I understand that, but I mean, like, what about something that is like, yeah, you can turn invisible?
I think that would probably fuck with you after a while. So I don't think that you'd find too many people who could handle that kind of power responsibly.
Responsibly, no.
Right.
No. Oh, okay. Well, if that's what you're asking, then absolutely not.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Well,
You're
I
probably
assume-
stealing stuff before.
I
Yeah.
guarantee it. Yes.
Yeah.
Look,
Although the stuff doesn't become invisible. So, like, I mean, you're walking around naked all the time, unless you get to at least turn your clothes.
Who knows, man? I mean,
No.
this is that fucking stupid ass comic book logic.
no, okay,
you know,
because
like-
at that point you're like, well, that bag of money is floating. I just shoot to the left or the right of it. Yeah, I got it. But yeah, there's plenty of things where there's a lot of opportunities just to, I get to know what they know, right? I'm just in the room. I'm
Yeah,
listening.
that is true. You could get a lot of information.
You could fucking haunt people.
That would be fun. But yeah, you could. All right, yeah.
Yeah, I can see how it's
Yeah.
you're completely
When you
off
said
your moral
responsibly,
rocker.
We're already going through every.
Yeah, it's taking
scenario.
less than 30 seconds to get there, man. To the point in time where it's like, wow, I'd really like to fuck with people.
But all right, but if you're invisible, what's the good you're doing?
Oh, there's tons of stuff that you could do. Like, just think about if you view like the spying that your government does as a benefit to society, you could do incredible things with that.
Okay, but what is like the good that you would do on a daily thing when you're invisible, versus what's easily available to do bad? That is your first thought.
Well, I guess that's the challenge of having a superpower.
Boy,
Yeah,
I'm
some
severely
superpowers-
tilted one way, but yes, I could.
Some
Absolutely, yeah.
superpowers, you can see the good you can do pretty easily. Being invisible is kind of leading only
It lends
towards
itself to
spying
shenanigans.
and
Yeah.
stealing, and like you're not just gonna be like, well,
Well, but see, that's your easy case in point. I mean, so, all right. So if having a fucking superpower that lends itself to nefarious activities is kind of like, oh, well, yeah, everybody would go bad on that one. I'm going to give you one that's really, really good. All right.
The
So,
healing one.
Like the healing one. And yeah, so
I just made it a 2-week process, and
I
I
think
get.
you just made it completely fucking amoral at that point.
How's that immoral?
I don't know, man. So it just,
Otherwise,
yeah.
you'd probably be killed.
Huh?
You'd be swarmed
I
over.
think you'd be killed anyway. So, yeah.
I don't know. I don't think like if I came out there and I just did like the first just like hey, come line up, right? I'm gonna come by. Like I said, you high five me, not a problem. And then I just make the announcements like, hey, I got what we can. Here's what I'm gonna do. This is my tour schedule,
Yeah.
right? So I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna be here. This is the cities that I'm coming to. I'm
Yeah.
gonna get you. I'm gonna be in India next week, right? That kind of stuff. I'm gonna do this. So here, schedule accordingly, right? Or maybe I do like that one fucking lady where it's like, write me a postcard.
But it's gonna look like when we're leaving Afghanistan. There's gonna be people hanging on the plane and all this kind of stuff. Like it's like yeah.
Look, I'll be back next week.
Yeah, what is the guy that's
Just
gonna
hang
die
on,
of
man.
cancer in like one day? You're gonna be like, oh, no, you can't leave.
Yeah.
Look, I get it. And you know what the truth is? Even the nicest people, like, it's like, look,
Lovely.
but I get it. I get, like, Beyonce's friendly, but she can't sign every autograph.
Yeah,
Eventually,
no,
she has
I
to
get
go
it. I
down.
guess that's kind of my point behind the exercise is that, any kind of like superpower on that kind of level or any kind of ability or anything like that would basically upend your life. So,
Well,
and I mean, so that would be the price. So you don't get to be like just, Pat and Jeff anymore at that point in time.
right, you're the Pat that you're Pat that heals people.
Right, you're the
that
Jeff
Pat.
that can turn invisible.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and see, this is the same thing. It's like, so if I have to scale it down and say, like, well, what are the things that I wouldn't necessarily consider as, superpowers, but I could say, like, look, this dude knows everything about cars, right?
Sure.
Is it
Yeah.
like going to get irritating for people to be asking him like all the time, like, hey, can you tell me what's wrong with this? Can you tell me, is there a point where you get to say, like, hey, I don't want to talk about cars?
I would hope so. So, yeah, I don't know though, man. But if you were the guy who had every answer about every car problem, you kind of set yourself aside from everybody else in that one. Even if, like you don't advertise it that way, eventually you're gonna get found out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know, man.
The same thing like asking doctors for like free medical advice.
Absolutely, yeah.
Is there a point where you get
Yeah,
to say
same
it's like,
thing. I
hey,
mean, yeah, like legal advice. So, I can tell when my wife gets irritated because I have a friend who's like, "Oh, he needs some help with this," and she's just like, "Arr."
Right.
So who is it?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's the thing is,
So,
are you
yeah.
doing a disservice by not sharing information with everybody? that
Sure,
needs
sure,
it,
sure. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. No, I don't know, man.
I don't know. Like, I guess the healing one isn't too tough for me because I'm like, you know what? I'm doing a poop load more good than,
Oh yeah,
I'm like, when it comes down to it, you're the ultimate judge of whether or not you did good or by like, because I mean, like, if you can turn invisible and like people are saying, can you do this for me? It's like, what? It's like, can you spy on my ex-wife? I don't know, man.
I don't know, man.
Maybe says, all right, so how much do you want?
Right.
To spy on my
Ah,
ex-wife?
yeah.
It's like, everything's for sale.
I guess in theory, man, but I mean, you could get the money on your own then ways without even having to do any shit for any other people if you could turn invisible.
Well, that is to say
So-
that you would be, if you consider like taking money to be getting the money.
I guess if you're gonna go down that path, we
Right.
might as well drive to the destination. This is a one-way street, bro.
It's like, yeah.
Yeah. No. No.
Because I mean, the other thing that you could do, don't get me wrong, like is there is a version of that where you could have fun with it. Was like, all right, so this is my magic show. I can do the regular cup and balls tricks, but let me, but hold on 1 second. I can also turn invisible. So let me mess with these people. They'll never figure out how I'm doing this, right?
Right, because you're actually doing
But
it.
is,
Yeah,
that,
right.
is that doing good for people?
I don't know, man.
Because you're
It's,
selling you're selling tickets to a show.
It depends on what I do.
I think you're doing it just to make money, and there's like I said, you could just drive to the end of the street and to just
Because then
go
it's
like
just-
I mean, it wouldn't be hard to sit over somebody's shoulder and get all their Bitcoin, pretty quickly.
yeah, or just sit there and like
So
look
you
at
don't
their
even
credit
need
card
to like
numbers.
carry money
Yeah,
bags with
yeah.
you. At that
Yeah.
point.
You just look at the
Yeah.
back of their card. It's like, oh, 821. Well, that's the code.
Sure.
I'm gonna order 10 Kindles and
Right. What? You can get nothing but Apple Store books. Yeah.
and sell them for a heavily discounted rate. I don't know. Yeah.
I just use them. Yeah.
Right.
Really, yeah, okay. So, I don't know. Yeah, it's like that whole thing with money too. I mean, it's like I do think that you get enough money at some point in time, your brain does go kind of smooth. And it's just like,
or
well,
different at the very least.
absolutely
Yeah.
different. And I don't think it takes that much money for that to happen. You know,
It depends on where you start from.
sure. Yeah. Oh, no, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you start with a lot of money and then you want to make more money, then it takes a lot more money for your brain to go smooth.
Yes,
Yeah.
and the quickest path to smoothness, of course, is the lottery.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that
it's
is
also the quickest path back to go. So,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
yeah.
that's an iron, dude. That actually will hit it flat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man.
So what would be like your monetary cap for brain going smooth?
I think Jeff's got a point on that one. It depends on where you start.
So we started as
if you start,
average white guy.
yeah.
Like,
Well,
what level would we start?
So my brain would probably start to go a little bit smooth once I got to that like maybe $10 or $20 million mark where I thought that
it's up there.
for me, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
It's okay. I didn't
No,
know.
but I mean, so I can see myself where my brain would go smooth on that one. It's like, well, I'd start looking at the $100 million guys and say, well, fuck, I can do that, kind of thing. So that yeah.
Okay.
So and so it would be a lot. Now, thankfully, my kid's a little bit older now. But if she had grown up in the $10 million mark the entire time, then yeah, her brain probably take $300 million to go smooth. Or something like that. Yeah. So
I thought the bar was going to be lower. I thought there was a lot of smooth brains out there.
I don't know, man. I mean, so it depends on where you are and how far away you feel from where you want to be. So and so that's a mental game, and I see a lot of people fucking struggle with that one. So, but for me, it would take quite a bit of success, quite a bit more success than I have now.
So
before I started getting like really jelly,
NFL, NBA, baseball, a lot of smooth brains there.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a reason why your agent gets you a money manager right off the bat. Not everybody's cut out to be Shaq, and just go out there and fucking, spawn businesses behind you. Yeah.
Especially when you're talking, like, baseball could be the worst one where you're like,
Oh, absolutely.
so you guys came from the Dominican Republic?
Oh, yeah.
So you were spending like
a nickel was cool.
Yeah, like you guys were exchanging the town dollar back and forth. Yeah, and Cuba and all these other places where
okay.
Yeah, suddenly you find yourself in a big contract. But then again, that being said, at least in baseball, right? I know that there are tons of people drafted every year. Almost everybody does a stint in the minors, right? So you get to see this money goes up, and you hustle. It's rare that people just go straight from draft to, right?
Oh, in baseball, yeah, that's
yeah,
really rare. Yeah.
Versus, like, so I was in high school. Now I'm playing basketball.
Yeah.
Right.
Right, yeah. I did 2 years in college. Now I play for the Raiders. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I'm not even talking about the college jump. I'm talking about the basketball, the walk-on, the straight.
Yeah.
Well, you have to do 1 year.
They did make it 1 year?
You can't go straight from high school to the NBA. So you can either do 1 year in college, you can do 1 year in the
semis or
yeah. Or overseas, but you have to do 1 year
okay
away from high school.
Okay. That's do you have to graduate high school?
I don't think they care about that.
I got my GED.
All right.
Yeah.
I think they all do, because I'm pretty sure even if they were that dumb, that the teachers will allow you to pass if you're that good.
I have seen it. Yeah.
What are you talking about, man? Like Lamar Houston was
Right.
here in Colorado, and I knew people that were putting him, quote unquote, through the program. So.
I think when you're at that level, you're gonna pass.
Yeah, you'll pass.
You'll pass.
Yeah,
So,
you'll pass.
Yeah, fine. Yeah, so that's kind of a rough one. Yeah, so if you're asking, the closest example I can give you, like with the brain, see, I can't give you a dollar amount, right? What I can say to you as somebody who, I got a lot of kids taking tests right now. So,
oh, sure.
Because I have like the 2 screens going, so I've been playing like Skylines.
Cool.
While the kids are taking tests and stuff, so that they can just call me up on the other screen and
yeah.
Is it still SAT NAC tests, or those are done by this point?
No, they
No.
still use those.
No.
Yeah, in fact, they're kind of
Well-
coming back a little bit.
Well, I mean, by being in mid-April, like, isn't
Right now, they're taking the whatever their state version of.
Yeah.
CMAS?
Yeah, yeah,
They're studying for those.
yeah. A lot of those guys, they'll
Why?
That's what I was like, what?
the state tests.
Yeah,
Yeah, a lot of guys they've been doing this for like the past month.
but why would you
Yeah,
study for
study
it?
for it.
The students?
Yeah.
Oh no, I don't do it. Their teachers are doing it.
Wait, what?
Their teachers are raising them for the standardized tests.
But why are the students
They're
practicing
not supposed to
with
be
you?
tied to grades.
No. That's just like
Oh,
that's
they're
the
just-
classroom activity.
Oh, gotcha. Oh,
Okay,
gotcha,
okay.
gotcha.
I had thought they were asking you for help with.
No.
These things,
So
I'm like,
I just do like
Who the
I wouldn't
who
even know. I wouldn't. I was like,
cares?
I don't know. I'm not gonna. I just come clean. I'm sorry. You got to get somebody else, right? I'm not the expert in this. What the fuck would I know about like what Illinois is doing on their test? I'm like, I don't know. Like I can guess.
Actually, almost all of them are the same now.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so they're doing like sat and act stuff, and I got people that are like,
I didn't know if those were like. I can't remember when the time limit was on those.
Well,
well,
they change it every year.
Okay.
So,
Well, and-
You'd
well,
already
it's-
be applying to.
oh, the SAT.
Yeah,
and the
you'd already be like.
yeah, they would have been doing that last fall.
Yeah.
So yeah.
well, you got to remember, it's not that they're studying because it's coming up like right
Oh,
now.
they're studying for next year.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So there's that kind of stuff. So I've been doing this with cities, and that's the smooth brain part, where it's for a good chunk of the game, right? You're like, money's an issue.
Oh,
but
you're
it-
talking about Skylines now?
Yes,
Got it.
and at some point, you don't know when, but at some point, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't
You don't
care.
even think about it because you know you're always going to have the money to spend.
Yeah.
And that would be my smooth brain moment, right? When I just lose consideration of, I don't even think about how this is going to hit my account. It's just, I know it's there. I know I'm fine.
Mm.
I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, but you've done the work at that point in time to actually generate the revenue stream. And so, I mean,
So is it a sudden change that makes it smooth, or is it
I
that
don't
if you
think so.
built the
I think
way
so.
up?
I think that a
Yeah.
sudden change definitely makes it worse.
Okay.
I mean, if you get a whole bunch of money dumped on you by the lottery, then yeah, okay. But if you, so like, there was actually this really interesting study that I was reading a couple weeks ago. It was actually talking about like the richest people in America, the people who actually go from nothing to like having quite a bit of money. It's not who you'd expect it to be. So it's not NFL players. It's not fucking lottery winners. It's not
Right.
those guys. All right. It's
Are
like
you talking about like the dude that invented like the scrub daddy?
it's not guys who do that. All right. So there are tens of thousands of these people, and they get minted every couple of years in the United States. These are people who go out there, they work a job for like 10, 15 years. They get good in some kind of field, and then they buy a franchise in that field. And so
Okay.
these are guys who like set up car dealerships or fucking fast food chains and stuff like that, and they started out by being a shift manager at fucking Arby's, kind of thing.
Huh.
Or there's tons of there's like plumbing and HVAC guys who get this set up. There's, electricians, there's like towing services, all kinds of these shit where you can like, if as long as you know the job, you go out there, you get yourself a franchise in it, you work that by yourself for a couple of years, then you expand where you're like 1 truck, 10 trucks, 20 trucks, and boom, all of a sudden you're in this like 10 to $15 million mark,
Oh, so you're talking like the same thing that would be like realtors that have been doing this.
It's
and then-
realtors is another
Yeah,
one that's on there,
And
they
then they
say
bring
like
this whole cadre of customers over. They make
Uh-huh.
all the money. They
insurance sales where you set up your own State
Yeah.
Farm shit,
Right.
and that's because then these things are constantly hiring. That's because for every 1,000 people they get to sign up to be a realtor, is like 5 of them actually become big, over time. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, and these are the people whose brains don't go smooth. Okay, they stay smart, but their kids start with a little bit of a wrinkle-free brain.
right.
So yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, no, it's
Okay.
it's a little bit different, man. So, and I've known a couple of people who've done it that way, So, and they just don't. I don't keep in touch with her. I mean, they're beyond my reach now. So, unless I wanted services, yeah. So,
I got time for you on Tuesday.
exactly, yeah. It's like, oh yeah, Pat, I remember you. We can get you down in a couple months. It's like, thanks, man.
Well, yeah,
Good to hear from you again. So,
yeah.
how many divorces have you had? Oh, you're on number 3, huh? Cool.
Well, it's cool because I knew you as Ron, but you keep insisting that I call you the fence king of Southern Colorado.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
My liege.
I did know a fence guy, so he did make it big and decided, fuck Colorado.
Are your eyes?
No, they're
Okay, all right.
So, fuck Colorado and moved off to California and no more fence guy.
But wait, is he still doing fences or no?
Yes, he just decides to do them for people who pay him a lot more for it because they want fancier fences.
Just the fence that I have?
Yeah.
The bill that I paid on just that section?
Yeah.
Like $2,000.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, and that's, you have to book it so far out too, man. So, And so this guy, he was great, and he started out, and there was one point in time I was like, hey, come over and fix my fence. He was like, oh man, great, I need the business and stuff. But then write me a review, and I was like, sure, no problem. And then lo and behold, like 6 years later, hey man, I need a fence. And it's like, oh, I'm not doing it in Colorado anymore. So yeah, it moved on up. I mean, it took over in like Denver and did that for a couple of years, and then had like fucking 200 guys working for him, and then took all his money and went out to California. So,
well, you remember when it was just like the 4 of us giving a $20 bill each Saturday to do CrossFit, and then
oh yeah, that guy, yeah, no, same thing, man.
He's big.
I don't know if he's big, so my wife still goes to his gym, so but I mean, the last couple times I was there, I hadn't seen the dude. He had like 10 fucking people working for him. So
yeah,
I don't know. The last I heard, they were doing extremely well. I don't know if they have multiple locations now or not, but
wow.
Yeah, but yeah, no. In the beginning, it's like got hooked in with my brother. It's like, hey, it was like, yeah, free on Saturday. He's like, great, come in.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's cool.
yeah.
I don't have the drive to do that.
Oh, I don't have the patience for it, man.
To start stuff up.
Oh Lord, no. Now, if I get more than about 4 hours into a 5-hour working day, I get a little salty. So,
talk about this,
man.
All it takes for me is to get to that. I have clients that are a pleasure, and then I have some clients that are difficult.
I can charge them more.
Well, there is that, but I mean, it's just when you get to that part of the day, and you're like,
See, I finally got to a point in time with what I do, or I like saying no to people now. So
I don't.
Jeff, I'm gonna be blunt with you. It took me a couple of years after even people were like, "Wow, are you busy?" And I was like, "Yeah, but I can do it," kind of thing. No problem. I'll help you out. And then I'd say the last year and a half, and especially the last like 4 months, it's just been like, "Nah, fuck off." So I'm good. I'm full.
I have there are some people that I've had to say like they've asked for more sessions, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, no, I can't, right? Because frankly, I'm actually saving those people that pay more. But there are there are parts of this.
Hey, look, man, I got people where I work who, I know they can't pay me as much as I can if I go somewhere else and stuff like that, or sign up for extra shit here. But just because I like them, I'll still help them out. But it means that the other people who are an absolute pain in the ass, they come to me, and even though they pay a lot more, I'm like, nah, I'm good. So go ask somebody else. So I've got enough on my plate. So
it's been so long since I've actually had a job where I've had to work hard.
Oh man,
it's been a long time.
I'm enjoying it now that I don't have to work as hard. So
I have to put in hours, but
dude, I remember the beginning of my when I just started teaching and I had to drive all over fucking town. So in order to pick up classes and shit. Oh man. So
I remember.
Oh yeah, fuck that. So, but I did that, and so now I have a lot of appreciation for what I can get away with now. So, but I would not go back to that.
And no.
Let alone when I was salary at some other places, like, oh, that means you have no cap on the number of hours you can work, other than how many do fit in a week.
I'm salary. I don't get pushed hours.
Well, no, that's because you're in a high demand field, man. They're not gonna push you around. You tell them to fuck off, go work somewhere else.
Hey.
So,
this job's gonna die fast.
Is it?
Like,
Oh, ChatGPT gonna kill it off?
The code GPT, like, or
Oh.
somebody that was using it, literally was writing code. And
Oh, I know.
like,
Yeah.
and then it's just like, yeah, they're using these to transform whatever they're infecting your computer with, and so the only way to keep up is to have your stuff have AI.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like, there's gonna be some dudes that run it, but
Yeah. Well,
All
you
you-
still gonna have to do all the troubleshooting though, man. So, you know, yeah.
it's gonna transform pretty quick.
It will, but you'll be right there. And
Yeah.
you'll be able to transform with it, man. So, you know, like I have so many colleagues right now, they're freaking out about ChatGPT and it's cheating on homework and stuff. And I was like, it's about 10 minutes away before someone's going to build a program that detects that shit. And lo and behold, now there is. So, you know, and it's just like, guys, don't worry about it too much. So,
Well, I am seeing people that are starting to. So again, I won't go into the full details of this because this is something that person of mine is working on. That's kind of proprietary. Is they are using this for they're setting up. They're using AI as a business tool, which
Sure.
is what it's designed to do, right?
Mhm.
And so this wasn't her direct approach, right? Because she was doing this like, no, I have a way more profitable idea than this. But I was like, no, that's fine. But I just want you to think about this in terms of there are a lot of people, you've known this, tons and tons of times over, right? Where you have somebody that has an idea,
Mhm.
right? And let's pretend it's actually a good one, right?
Sure.
Let's not pretend this is that I don't know, what was it, the $2 million bar that
Oh God, yeah, with polished oak and all that
yeah,
shit,
yeah.
or
yeah.
laser tag arena, laser tag. So
Okay, so
yeah.
the whole thing on this was that this was part of using AI was using that as sort of a like not just a risk calculator, right?
Sure.
So if you said like, hey, I'm looking into making a laser tag, business, and the thing is going to collate, it's going to look at the data and say
Yeah.
like, all right, well if you do this, it's going to have a pretty substantial risk, but if you want to, this is what you want to do, but
Yeah.
these are your odds of success, right? And then what it turns into then is a hand-holding tool of like, okay, well, fill out this form, right? And this was the application that she was doing. This was basically like a hand-holding guide for people that want to be entrepreneurs, right?
Oh, good luck with that.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the thing is there's a lot of people that have, let's pretend you have a great idea,
Sure.
but you leave it in the can because you don't know anybody. The way she said it, she's like, look, most people, like you were talking about, where the franchisees, how do you jump into this? Well, because I've worked in this business for 15
Yeah,
years,
sure.
learned everything, took the shingle, right?
Yeah.
But if you want to get into something that you haven't done,
Yeah.
right, but it is still a great idea,
Yeah.
this is where you can kind of soak in that,
Yeah.
and it holds your hand and walks you through, okay, you're going to need this. Fill out this form.
Yeah.
Don't forget to do this, right? I was like, that's actually a genius application, right?
Yeah, I mean, unless it rips off your idea and puts it out there to everybody else that's on its clients list. So,
Yes.
I don't know, man. I mean, the thing that I've been seeing about like a lot of the AI is it's so reiterative, meaning it generates so quickly, all right, and then it adds to the body of knowledge so quickly that
Yeah.
basically it's going to turn into a wash machine that's permanently stuck on spin cycle. So, meaning that individuals who try and engage with something like that, they're going to get turned off very quickly by the amount of information they actually have to consume from it quickly.
Huh.
And so, like, I've seen this already. So, okay. So, so in education, all right. So, which of course, people are already trying to algorithmically generate fucking curriculum and stuff like that. Man, I'm going to tell you right off the bat. So, that there are some people out there who are going to absolutely eat that shit up because they want to speed run school. They just want to get it fucking done.
Sure.
Yeah. Great. That's fine.
Yeah.
All right. So, I bet you in less than 5 years' time, if not even that, you can probably get a full 4-year college degree in less than a year. So, because you can go through the entire curriculum that quickly, and it's all up to date, and it's all up to speed, and it's all fucking automatically and algorithmically generated in terms of the assessments and stuff like that, which you'll probably be able to cheat on. So, and you'll be able to get through it, no problem. And the accrediting agencies will be like, yeah, actually, if we take a look at what's going on under the hood with the curriculum, yeah, all the shit, blah, blah, blah. Here you go. So you're going to show up to a job and someone's going to take a look at that and say, what the fuck do you actually know? So, so.
Well, they're going to have you do something. That's going to be their practical part is they're going to say, do this.
Yeah, I mean, not as far as hiring goes, but maybe. I mean, that's where
those places already do stuff.
Well,
like that.
I mean, that's where the GitHub thing will probably come in. It's like, show me what you've actually done, kind of thing.
Well, no, they'll make you do something on the spot.
Maybe. So
there are places already doing that.
I get that. So
I had to write an essay for.
Sure.
I had 45 minutes to do it.
I guess my company before it got bought out by Deloitte, they would give you an exam when you came in the interview.
Yeah.
And it was meant for you to fail because you're an entry-level person. So you're supposed to be like, what the fuck is all this?
Is it like one of those you have to stand up to the boss test? You have to like, sir, this test is unfair.
Yeah.
Just admit you don't know stuff and go on and yeah. So
right.
It was like, yeah, if you got like a 40%, you're solid.
Yeah.
But you're not gonna. And I guess somebody got like a 99%, and they're like, you're not applying for the right job, but we got another position.
That's smart. That's actually really smart.
I guess so. I mean, the thing that I don't think knowledge is going to actually count for as much as it does in the future.
Well,
it didn't 20 years ago when we started.
Well, I'm telling you, it's just going to get worse. Yeah. And so, I mean, if you come in and I'm not going to be hiring from skill anymore. So, because you can fill in your skill gaps with whatever's out there on the internet anymore. I mean, like my brother's in cybersecurity, they do that all the time. So I was like, all right, I don't know what that means. Google it. Yeah, absolutely. You do it all the time. Yeah. So, I think it's going to be much more as like, well, do you fit in around here? Are you an asshole? Yeah. So,
that was the third interview was.
Yeah.
So what do you do? What do you do for fun? Like, who are you? What kind of stuff do you do? Like, what are you interested in? Because they're like, we want people that are actually going to want to hang out and like fit in and have conversations and stuff like that rather than turn this into a weird place.
Yeah. Well, that's what everybody's searching for. Everybody said, we can't find good people. It's like, well, it's because you're using the wrong fucking assessment. Okay. So you're asking this guy if he actually knows how to do accounting. The answer is yes. But he's a dick.
That's the problem, though. That is where you can actually get into trouble. Where,
of course, you can get into trouble, man.
Yeah.
So, but I'm telling you, that's where like so many things are going. I see it with so many of the employers that we deal with. There's like, they'll completely circumvent their own systems nowadays, where they have like everything out there on all the Indeeds and all this shit like that and stuff, and then they'll reach out to me individually. It's like, do you have a student who can do this, who's not a jerk? So, and it's like,
does that happen a lot?
It's starting to happen more.
Really?
Yeah, it's kind of weird too, because they're usually like good jobs, like the ones that people actually would knife fight people for, kind of thing. But they just don't want to. I mean, it's like we can go through the iterative process. We can ask everybody all the same questions the way we're supposed to and stuff like that. Then we pick someone who turns out to be an absolute raging asshole, just makes the place extremely toxic and stuff like that. But they're smart enough to get away with all this shit. So, but that's not what we want in this business, man. So I'd rather have someone who's dumb, okay,
that we can work with,
and then we can bring them up to speed. And that's exactly what your company's doing with you. So IT guys figured this out like 5-10 years ago. So
I think a lot of guys actually know that too. It's just I mean, there are some weird things. This is going to be this was something I can't remember the report. I'd cite it right now, but could. But this is one of the things where they've actually started changing their hiring policies in terms of like not social media presence,
sure,
but that is a part of it. But also like there's been a downtick in terms of like the groups that have been advocating so hard, basically like your trans groups, minorities, that kind of thing. There's actually been a downtick in that because there's that fear of, well, okay, qualified or not, I'm afraid of broaching a subject or this causing trouble in the office, right? Where it's having the complete opposite effect of what they're trying to advocate for.
Or you could never fire them.
Well, that's part of it.
Well,
right?
you'd have to be careful.
You'd have to have cause. You'd have to have
cause.
Really well documented cause, right? And there's a lot of times where they're like, I can do that, or I can just hire a middle-aged white guy. and so they just hire a middle-aged white guy, right?
Well, I mean, you can do it. It depends on your hiring process too. Like ours is completely scrubbed of all that shit. We have no whenever we hire someone, I have no idea of what their ethnicity or gender is until we actually get to the interview.
And
see
that's
their name?
where the interview
Huh?
comes in.
You see their name?
No.
No, it's a
Wow.
number.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a number.
Ooh.
So,
But when they
yeah.
get to the interview, it's just like, no, I'm not gonna. It's like,
What do you mean?
Wait, so do you even see their resume, or does somebody look?
Oh
through
no, you did.
resumes?
You definitely see the resume, but it gets scraped of all that information.
Mm.
So the only thing that you can kind of figure out is like how old somebody is based upon their experience trained. So
Oh,
you know, and,
okay.
and even that doesn't always like because I've seen it where someone has very little experience, but they were a stay-at-home mom for like 10 years,
yeah.
and so they turned out to be considerably older than we thought.
Mm.
But, you know, I mean, when it really comes out, we don't give a shit. So, you know, do you interview well? Are you going to fit in around here? Are you going to be a jerk? So, you know, and I mean, there's just like a couple tip off questions that, you know, you can kind of use to tell those things that, you know, are absolutely fine as far as HR goes. Or you wait until you ask them for questions. And so, I mean, that's the easiest thing to do in an interview is say, like, okay, well, we're done here, but you got to ask 3 questions. We want to hear 3 questions from you. And so by the time you get to the third one, they're like, well, what's your time off policy? I was like, it's pretty generous. So, but not as generous as you want it to be, you know, kind of thing. So, but anyway, so, you know, and that's why like your interview, whereas you get to the third one, by the time you get to a third round interview like that, it's kind of okay to start broaching some of that stuff because, you know, at that point in time, there's nothing on your resume that's scrubbing you. So, you know, from the applicant pool. And so when we've done it with formal applicants where we have like 3 finalists, so then we'll sit down and we'll kind of think, well, what do you think they'll take for this job? And then we'll make a strategic decision about, are we going to go after the top candidate or are we going to go after number 2?
Mm.
So, yeah. So, and I've seen it where they go after number 2. Because the thing is like number 1's great, that this person is perfect on paper. They can do a lot better than here, and they probably will within a year. So fuck it. So let's offer it to number 2.
Oh,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Oh, I've seen that happen a couple times, man. Free agency.
Yeah.
Free agency. Yeah.
And that is
We're gonna franchise
strong in
you,
the
man.
world
Yeah.
right now.
That would be funny if they could actually franchise you. Like fucking, you're like, I want to quit, but
fucking-
Wendy's is like, I'm gonna franchise
Fucking
you.
railroad almost tried to do that to me. Yeah.
It's like, what are you talking about? I got a way better offer at McDonald's. Like, nah, we franchise you for 1 year.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to stay here, or you have to retire.
You're in the top 5 of
Well,
salaries.
yeah. No, they tried that with me with clawback. So yeah.
What's that?
Yeah.
So they had
The card?
they paid me money to move. So
Oh,
yeah,
right,
so they
right.
try and stick that hook into you. And then the other way they tried to do that with me was like they pulled back my vesting options, which they had the option to be able to do. So they said, well, you're going to walk away from your entire, you know, like all these stock options we gave you. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna. So, but they tried. So, you know, they're like, you got to get another year, otherwise these won't vest. So
Is it 3 years or 5?
it was 5, but it was 1 year per year. So,
Oh,
20%.
Years-
But they had an option to claw back that first 20%. So yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
I feel like in a different scenario, you'd call it blackmail.
It's totally blackmail. Yeah.
It's like, that's not another scenario. That's the definition.
But I mean, hey man, I mean, it's like,
Well, you used a different term. So.
yeah.
Yeah, clawback. Like,
Yeah,
That's-
that sounds legal.
that sounds ruthless, dude. It's like,
Mhm.
huh.
Yeah, that was after they had already distributed them. So yeah, they were.
So
in,
you'd have to pay back.
they were in my account. So yeah. So yeah, they were in my account. Yeah. I had to give them back.
I had to do that.
Yeah. Huh?
I had to get back money.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Oh, for your mileage thing or whatever.
Oh, from
Because they
Baker's?
screwed up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm glad I don't have to deal with any of that shit. I used to hate all those little perks like that. It was like, oh, here's your gas card, and here's this, and here's that, and blah, blah, blah. It was like, fuck all this shit, man. So, you know what? Just pay me more. I'll take care of my own gas. Fuck off. So, yeah. I'll figure it out.
Oh.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I suppose instead of getting a health and fitness, if they just get no,
No, because
I would just spend it on stupid stuff and it would go away.
that's your problem.
I
Yeah.
actually am cool with getting the health and wellness.
Yeah. No, like, yeah, no, I like it where I'm at now
Yeah.
because he was like, all right, so we give you X amount of money to spend every single year on like shit that you need for work. So we don't care what it is. All right. If you don't spend it, you lose it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and it's like, or it goes back to the fund. And so I've gotten it 3 years in a row now where it's just like, I only spent like a little bit of it. So fuck it, throw it back in the fund. I don't care. So I'm not going to do that thing where I order new office furniture because I can.
Oh, I totally.
I know, and I used to have that mentality too, but now I'm at the point in time where it's like, fuck it, I don't care. I don't want to deal with the paperwork. So, and I can't keep it's not like I can wheel that shit home. So it stays at the office. So
Oh, mine
Yeah.
gets sent to the house.
see, no.
Yeah, no, it's different.
Yeah, no, mine they like go use the
Oh.
rec center. It's over there. You know?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's like we have a pool. Use it. So, but no, like all that little like I remember. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. If I had to buy stuff for the office,
Oh,
I would
yeah.
I wouldn't care.
Well, and I mean, it just tamps down the shenanigans too, man. So the only place that I've been where that we engaged in shenanigans along those was absolutely the railroad. And that's because they were like, "You're gonna lose all this shit." And I was like, "So wait a minute, you want me to spend like $10,000 fucking dollars on new office furniture? Are you guys gonna come in and build it?" It's like, "No, you are." It's like, "Fuck that." Then I guess we're losing the money.
you doing?
We ain't doing this. Yeah.
So here's your furniture. Here's your Allen wrench. You
Your
get
Allen
one.
wrench,
Yeah.
So you get one. So yeah, it was so
Christ.
dumb, man.
No, man, but it
So-
works two ways. So you can split it the long way or the short way,
Right,
depending on
yeah.
where you're putting it in. It's really two tools.
It's two tools. Oh man, I hate Allen wrenches.
You know what? Okay, so because all furniture that I've bought in the past like 20 years has all been assembled with these things, right?
Yeah.
They come with one, and it's a different size.
Yeah,
And if you need it for anything,
I got the
right?
ratchet set, man.
See, that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying is,
Yeah, you can just attach it to your drill.
well, no. I totally
Yeah.
understand that, but they give you the one,
Right.
And it's the little bent
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
And then whenever you're looking for the one that you need, it's not it.
No,
True. But you can also just buy the Allen wrench.
You can
Set
do the
that
key
has-
ring. Yes, I totally understand.
I've got one of those, and I've got the socket set. It's just like a little like stocking stuff for those like $5, and so it fits in any socket. and
Yeah.
just-
Oh yeah. No. So I've got I have my own where it's just it's great. All the pieces fit into the handle.
Oh
you
yeah,
pull it
see,
out.
that's really nice.
That's
Yeah.
great. That was like $11.99.
Yep.
It has more than paid for itself
Oh.
100 times over.
Oh, not a handy to have, man. So, yeah, but no, I was not going to build like 3 offices worth of new fucking furniture, and so,
Couldn't you tell your peons to?
huh?
Or did you not?
I
have
had no
peons?
peons. I was the peon.
Oh.
All my
I
peons
thought
were.
you were in charge.
I was, but all my guys were union guys, so they'd be like, "Oh, wait, that's not my contract."
That's not my job.
Yeah,
I can't touch
I
that.
can't touch
actually.
that.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, yeah,
Fair enough.
Because if you touch one of the things that they have to do,
I get time slipped. Yeah. So this is the only place I've worked where this is ever true. All right. So, but if I did anything that was in the union contract and a union guy or multiple union guys saw me do it, they would issue what was known as a time slip, which was basically like, you owe me a day's pay because you're taking away my job.
Wow.
I threw a switch once. 3 guys fucking saw me. That was 3 days pay right there. I got my ass chewed for that. So, yeah.
all right. I was
Wow.
hearing.
I was just helping them out, and they all knew it, and they were like, "Look at that dumbass go!" So they were busting out the slips before I even got done with that switch, man.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
That's how it works, man.
I was hearing about like SAG and ATRA and like the guilds and all that stuff over there. Like, so if you film like over there, like on the East Coast, right, where these are non-union jobs, right, the actors and the stuff, right, you don't have to, of course, but if you're trying to do something quickly, right, and you finish shooting, you want to be cool. You just grab stuff and start moving it, right? You do that in Los Angeles, like you put your hand on a light. They're like, whoa, 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 don't touch that,
Yeah.
don't touch it. They're like, we need to get to the next shot. Don't you dare touch that.
taking somebody's job.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's the exact same thing.
Same thing,
It's
man.
gonna get-
Huh.
See, this is so funny, man, because like I see so many of these guys on Lefty Tube, Bread Tube, and stuff talk about unions and stuff. And it's like, none of you fuckers have been in a union. You don't know how it works, all right?
I was
And
in
so-
one, but it was the crappiest one that you've ever seen. in your life.
The Teachers Association is not a union because it can't even call itself a fucking union.
No.
So we are an association. It's like, what are you, the fucking PTA? So, you know, do you get together and like bake cookies? You know,
We
but-
considered ourselves a task force.
see, that's it's just going down the gay scale, man. That was, yeah. You know,
Like the
like,
neighborhood watch.
right, exactly.
Oh, well,
like
like,
all volunteer dog watch force. Yeah, you know, kind of.
And it doesn't become official until you print T-shirts.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. We got buttons. So, yeah. So do you want to get on our mailing list? You know,
Look, don't get me wrong. I don't mind the idea of actually, using this to a point. There are certain things where, yeah, this could be beneficial, but the version of this that you guys are talking about, it's like you have no idea. Some fucking idiot. Okay.
Are going into the Twitterverse.
I have to, just because
Oh.
there are.
yeah, what the fuck is going on with anyway, we'll come back to that.
Okay, I'll let you ask that question.
Yeah.
There. I'm just saying that there are a lot of like Stalinist apologists.
Where are you finding these people?
In the dog one.
Yeah, they gotta be. There's got to be like a knot of them on Twitter that are just really vocal, because I have never walked into the bar and say, "Please, if anybody in here like is a fan of Joseph Stalin, I will buy you a beer." I've never had someone take me up on
Jesus
that.
Christ, man! There's a lot of people that sit there and say like the man's reputation was damaged by the CIA. That none of this is true.
He killed like 9 million people
They-
on purpose.
They present him as his real he hated bureaucracy and he did what it took to
It's
get
fucking horseshit. He loved it. He was really good at it too. So, in fact, he's like the only reason the Soviets actually held off the Nazis was because he was so fucking good at organizing production. And then he starved Ukraine on purpose. So that's kind of like, picking 9 out of 10 basketball games correctly in a weekend and then flubbing the last one because you fucking hate that team. So,
God, that'd be.
Patrick, look, I need you
okay,
to,
no. I know you're not defending it.
I need you to understand that I'm not on their
Right.
side.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I
But
can't,
no,
I can't
no,
blame
you
that
see-
one on being dizzy. You got my piss on low.
No.
board.
This is
It's
the
not
thing.
you, man.
No, I got you. It's just what you're experiencing in me is when you see these
Right,
kind of
okay,
things,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Is like they fucking said what,
Right.
That's where I go,
Gotcha,
right?
man.
And then I have a pretty standard boilerplate on this where I just like, hey, look, Marcus of Queensberry rule says that if you're trolling, you have to come
yeah.
clean right now, right? Or I don't argue with the retarded. That's not fair.
Is this
Right.
saying that you're like, if you're a cop, you have to tell me?
Well, that's
this
not
is-
actually true, but
I know.
I know, but this is my it's like, all right, am I getting engaged with you or not, right? So
Oh.
either confess, right, or you're mentally handicapped and I'm not going to have this discussion, right? Because yeah, this is the same thing. Like it was talking about like look, I was getting into it with a dude who was basically saying like the North Korea is the good Korea. And he was talking about how many people get so tired of life in the South that they repatriate.
I forgot the machine guns point the other way. Yeah,
I know. But yeah, this is it's like,
Okay.
and it's like, no, you have to come clean. They say like, do you actually believe this? Right? They say, yes, I do. It's like, thanks and have a good day. Right?
Oh, okay.
Because I'm not going to
Yeah.
engage with you. This is stupid. You believe something so mentally retarded that it is not worth having a discussion
Wait,
with.
so if they said no, would you have a conversation with them? Or either answer they give, you're done.
Well, so if it comes with the caveat of like, well, I believe this, right? But if there's like a sense of reasonability, you can talk to these people. But that's not who these people are, right? This is your just quick way to get them like, okay, you opened up a discussion. I'm going to insult you. I'm going to give you the chance to walk it back. Or you can say like, look, I've been called out. And I say like, no, I'm totally.
Yeah, okay. So Marcus of Queensbury. Yeah, got it.
Yeah,
It's
right.
like, no, I'm just fucking with you guys.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Okay.
And I have no problem with that, right? This is going to sound silly, but there are actually some great people on there that are like, I know what you're doing.
you're right.
Like,
yeah.
And you're like, right? That's the whole point. It's like, do you want to get in on it?
Yeah, it's the guy in the audience who's already heard the joke and knows the punchline. You're like, come on, man, just play with me here.
No, what was
Yeah.
what did you want to ask? What was the what is going on?
What the fuck was it?
You asked what the fuck's going on with
What
Twitter?
the fuck happened between Musk and Taibbi? What the fuck? So
Oh.
I'm not on the Twitter, so I don't know what he put on there. But Taibbi had like 3 fucking articles on his Substack in a row, where he was basically like asking what I just asked.
Okay. So this is something that's been going rounds and rounds. They've been talking about it, retracting it, talking about it, retracting it. And the question is whether or not. So Twitter's is coming out with a feature called Notes.
Twitter is?
Yeah.
I thought it was Substack.
Well, no, that's the thing is. So Twitter is coming out with a feature that's going to be called Notes.
Oh, okay.
Right? And that is supposed to be essentially taking the place of Substack, right? And so there's been dispute of whether or not you're allowed to promote other, meetings.
I thought Substack was coming out with something called Notes.
I believe it's the other way, right? Because it's either Notes, because one of the two is coming out with it, right? And Twitter is basically going to have whoever it is that's calling it Notes, I don't remember, right? But I thought it was Twitter, but anyway.
I think it's Substack.
Okay,
They have
fine.
Notes out, which is basically a Twitter clone, but it's not like you can follow people, so it's not.
Well, and that's the thing, is Twitter's coming out with a feture that's like Substack.
Okay, so
Right.
they're both taking a shot at each other here.
Well, okay, so there's a few things that so there's a few interesting things. All right, so Twitter actually goes positive within a couple of months.
What do you mean positive?
Profitability
Oh,
within
okay,
a couple of
yeah.
months. They have, I can't remember through which agency, but there is now a cryptocurrency exchange tied with Twitter. When we were talking about how they're tying this in with different things, that's
Yeah,
actually
they're
part
trying
of
to
it.
turn it into WeChat for America.
And they're doing basically
Yeah.
like a Substack version. So the question is, am I going to let people promote
Mm-hmm.
basically an alternative service
Mhm.
on my service?
Mm-hmm.
And there's been some going back and forth where some things have been implemented, some things have been withdrawn. I don't know how this
okay.
ultimately plays
Yeah.
out, but that's how that's happening, right?
Yeah.
And that's what that's all about.
Okay.
So
Were they mad at each other then, or what?
it's not,
Taibbi and Musk?
it's not really like a mad thing. It's kind of like there is some like, dude, what the fuck, right? There's like, why do you care? Why is this like?
Yeah.
Why do you distinguish this, in this regard? I'm like, I don't know. That's not my thing. I feel like this is something that's going to get retracted until, let people naturally migrate if you think it's a good thing that has that integration.
Yeah, well,
But-
isn't Substack's like a thousandth of the size of Twitter?
right.
Yeah, okay. So
Frankly, I would be more.
I just saw that Taibbi said that he wouldn't wipe his ass with Twitter, and he's done. So
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So and that was like, what happened, man?
Yeah, that's fine. Frankly, I would be
So-
more inclined to say like, all right, well, I want to integrate this. Why don't I actually like, there's a lot of like support on Substack. You just say like, why don't I fold this in? Why don't I write a check and fold this in?
What, Substack into
Yeah.
Twitter?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Well, I mean, if he's not profitable yet, then and who knows? I don't even know who owns Substack. So
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I mean, if Bill Gates owns it, then he's going to tell him to fuck off.
that could be it. That's the thing. I
Yeah,
don't
it might
know.
be that.
Yeah.
So, I don't
Because
know.
that would mean to like you couldn't even like hostile buy it out.
Yeah, no, I just saw like 3 posts from him. So because his feeds do punch all the way through to my email.
Yeah.
So there's 3 guys that I subscribe to on Substack now, and they all do that. So
Yeah.
and I was like, what the fuck is going on? But I'm not on Twitter, and so I was like, well, I can't see it from that side, so I didn't know. And I figured you followed both those guys, so you probably know.
I do.
Yeah, okay. But
I follow nothing, so I'm
you're
No,
not on
fine.
Twitter
You're
either? Yeah, no.
not in the slightest.
No, you have no
Yeah.
business there. It's not for you.
Yeah,
Like
I-
it's just
None of my students are on Twitter, so
What are they on now?
I don't know. I gotta
Instagram?
ask them. I don't like a lot of them. Like don't do the social media. They just consume it, so they don't partake. So
Really?
yeah.
Well,
where did they
not a
go?
traditional way. Well, a lot of people just it's Instagram. It's
Well, they're on the Instagram and they're on the TikTok, but
that's those are
that's you just consume shit on TikTok. So
no, you do, but that's
you don't
Instagram
keep
is
up
where
with
you're
your
gonna
friends.
be. Yeah, Instagram is where you reach out to people.
And that one's owned by Facebook, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, Elon Musk isn't gonna get his hands on that one either. Then.
No.
So I did see that Zuck actually backed away from the metaverse. He's like, "Fuck that."
Really?
Yeah, kind of. So he's onto the chat but GPT shit now. So they're gonna do the AI or
Gotcha.
something. So did you see Chaos GPT? So I think it's a Twitter feed. So I saw a big old article about that the other day.
No,
It's basically a version of ChatGPT that's been tasked with destroying the human race just to see what it's doing. So, and it gave up a couple times. It's like, well, I can't access nukes, so whatever.
That's the go-to.
Yeah, I guess it was. Well, I mean, if you think about it, that's what the internet would tell you to do. It was like, well, you've got to get to Russia and America to fight each other, kind of thing, and destroy the world.
Okay, so this is the thing. You have two versions of what it is that destroys the world, right? So you have number one, of course, is nuclear fire, which is a great option, right?
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah,
really fast. The other side, of course, is going to talk about, well, this is like Nixon's version of the enemy within. Okay. So it's like, how do we undermine society to the point where it devours itself?
Zombies.
Yeah.
No, well, the either side is going to point at something that the other side is doing and saying that they are undermining. Look,
right. This is the national divorce bullshit.
Right. Yeah. This is the phrase du jour is threat to democracy.
But that wouldn't.
That's been around for.
That wouldn't wipe out civilization.
Yeah. See, I think you got frustrated with that one too, because it was like, well, my user base isn't big enough to be able to get that many people to fight.
Well, listen, this is the same thing where it came down to like the China paranoia thing. There are a lot of people where, look, when you look at the way that each side looks at things, okay, mm-hmm. So when you're talking about this is literal trans genocide, it's like, no, you don't know what that word means, right? But this is what I'm talking about, is you take that hyperbolic situation and say, all right,
oh, I see what you're saying.
You're wiping us off the earth. Same thing around is like, well, if people can choose the bathroom they go to, this is the end of Western civilization, right?
What does it have to do with China?
Well, in the same way that people blow shit out of proportion and say,
got it. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Everything's in danger because of these people.
Yeah.
The Chinese monster.
I don't know. Yeah. I'm still a little lukewarm on that one, man. So.
But you listen to stuff that most people don't.
Yeah, I might need to stop doing that. Yeah. So.
Most people don't look past the headlines, and the headlines say that China's the number one.
Yeah, I just don't think they will be. So, I don't think that precludes a war. I think that's distinctly possible. So,
right?
Yeah. So the question is, would that actually be manageable? I don't know. So,
Patrick, all I can tell you is we spent 20 years at war, right? We failed to achieve victory.
It depends on the war you're talking about.
You're talking about our excursions to the desert.
Which one? Because Iraq was kind of a victory, if you look at it.
It was, yeah, kind of, but the
it didn't stop.
Well, that's
the stopped sooner than people thought, but
well, okay. So what is the state of Iraq now?
It's better.
Yes and no. Well, I mean, okay, so
it's better than Saddam Hussein days. I don't think you'd find too many Iraqis who disagree with that. Was it worth the price to get here? Maybe not.
Well, okay. So I would argue that true victory in Iraq would have been to basically understand that despite the objections of the world, we would say, all right, this is our 51st state. We are going to have a permanent president.
I think Puerto Rico was in line, but
they've been asked.
Yeah, they've turned it down.
Asked and answered, right?
Yeah. But you get the perks of being a state and don't have to be a state. So.
What about Guam? Have we asked Guam yet? I don't know. So
I don't know. But all I can say here is, like, if we just put the foot down and said, like, well, this is okay, fine. They don't have to be a 51st state, but they just have to say like,
Your U.S. territory.
this is New America Desert, right? Whatever you want to call it. What do you call it? You want to call it Alabama 2? I don't care, right? Whatever. But if you just say like, all right, this is our property, right? Consider us like the bank. And you guys have failed to run things properly, so we are going to own this. We're going to run this until it's profitable.
We
right?
call that U.S. oil.
But see, that's what the British did for 2 centuries.
That's what I'm saying.
And so I wouldn't say that their definition of victory were basically vassalize a state.
This is the problem.
You know, and that's why I don't buy all that empire bullshit that people put out there. I mean, we went over there. I think we legitimately tried to help, and then it got fucked up, and we didn't know what the fuck to do. But then it got better after ISIS attacked, and the Iraqis said, well, that's way worse than anything else that's going on.
I agree. But this is the thing. So when I sit there and say, like, all right, victory is sort of like a conditional thing. Because, if I look around and say, like, all right, so with everything that we have and the money and the resources that we have to spend, we still didn't do a bang-up job over there.
No, he's running, but it's kind of rough, man.
Right. So if I'm going to sit there and turn around and say, like, all right, well, why do we see what happens when China tries to do the same thing?
I don't think they're going to be able to make it over there.
That's
man.
what I'm saying. If we couldn't do something like that, why would I put faith in China?
Okay, so A, first of all, it's a shitload closer. So B, there's a lot more
whatever you're talking about warfare on any level. Like, why would I put my faith in them to really get the job done?
No, I don't know, man. Like sheer amount of stubbornness and the willingness to spend human lives. I mean, those are two things that we're not very good at. So, I mean, if we get stubborn about a policy, your administration gets flipped the fuck over. So either every 4 or 8 years.
Right.
So
right.
In this case, a black guy got elected, and he said, well, we're just going to keep doing the same thing. So, and people were like, okay, maybe this guy can get it to work. So, and it didn't really work out. And then this other lady came along and said, well, maybe we'll just do it another year or two. And she got voted the fuck down. So, yeah. That happened. So, I don't know, man. I mean, the thing that I'm worried about is,
Would China just make like a bridge of people, keep going into the ocean?
Look, that's how they ended up. Look, truth of the matter is that's how they ended up taking half of Korea.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
So, I don't think they'd make a bridge of people, but I mean, whatever happens is, I mean, Japan's made itself fairly clear that it's not going to stay out of that war.
Yeah, they've said.
And so if they get in that war, we get in that war real fast. Yeah. Okay, so, and so who knows what the fuck that looks like. So, yeah.
So yes, I understand. Well, I mean, did you see the other leaks this week about basically us having special forces in Ukraine?
Yeah, but I've seen a couple explainers on that one. They talk about special forces. We're not talking about like
Vietnam.
Yeah, we're not talking about advisors, that are, sailing up the Mekong and taking out Colonel Kurtz.
Right.
We're talking about guys who can run Patriot missile batteries. So, that's a little bit different than what the news is trying to make it out to be. So, because apparently running a Patriot missile battery actually does take a rocket scientist. So, in order to be, it's not
a lot of training.
You just don't push a fucking button and it goes off and, blows up an airplane. All right. So, it's actually much more complicated. So this isn't like we have fucking strike teams, with like black face paint, who are rolling around and,
the numbers, Mason.
Weird.
What do the numbers mean?
Exactly. What do the numbers mean? Yeah. So, and so I don't know how to feel about this leak because it seems like a lot of people are trying to make a big deal out of it.
And people are trying to downplay it too.
And people are trying to downplay it too. But the thing about it that frustrates me is that shit that everybody already kind of knew.
Yeah, I heard this brought up a long time ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Send people over to train them how to run these.
Yeah, but that's the question: train or operate?
Well, and who knows? But I mean, you're still not talking about. We don't have a fucking combat brigade there. We have a couple dozen guys who know how to run this shit. So
right,
yeah,
right. Well, I mean, so all right.
Well, if you see the guy and he's got the missiles pointing towards you, like you jump in and you go, no, this is not how you do it.
Or I mean, if you're the guy who's behind him and saying push the green button twice, I mean, you're still kind of pushing the button.
That's again,
Yeah.
that's where that becomes very sticky. Because look, if you're in Russia's situation, you say you guys are clearly.
Well, they're gonna spin that way every single time,
I totally
regardless,
understand.
and we would totally do the same thing.
I get it.
Yeah.
And so if that's the
So-
case, then the question would be like, well, why don't you actually do it?
Well, yeah, I mean, because we got to maintain this thing where we're actually not. This is the whole.
That's what I'm talking about.
Well, and that's fine because that's what kept us out of the Cold War for almost 70 fucking years.
And that's where the question is whether or not that's what we're sort of embarking on.
Russia's got itself in a fucking Vietnam right now. Russia absolutely had people in fucking Vietnam, and we never turned around and said, "Oh, well, fuck you. You better put a brigade in there, and so we can, do this." We didn't do it, man, because we knew what that went to, and the Russians won't either. So because they know where that one goes. So
But you got to focus on winning this fight, man.
they're not gonna win it. So
Well, this is the thing is whatever they're the thing that was interesting where they did report, they said the casualty numbers are far different than what has been presented. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Right.
So well, I don't know. I've heard like huge ranges on there, like up to 500,000, all the way down to where these ones were, which was what, like 40,000 on one side and another 30 on another.
It was like 80,000 on the Ukrainian side and like 20,000 on the Russian side.
20,000?
Something like
There
that.
wasn't that much of a disparity.
That's what
In troops? No way.
that's what in terms of troop losses is what they said.
Oh no, that's not what I read. So I'll have
I
to go
thought
back
it was
and look
lower.
at
It was
again.
like 19,000.
Huh?
Is it
Yeah.
from the leak from that kid?
So the one that I saw, the Russian losses were actually higher than that.
No, I saw that was grossly overestimated.
No. Okay. Then wherever I saw that, either's got bad information or your guys got bad information on that.
Look, there's look.
I'm gonna have to go look at it. So
Look,
because
this is something that leaked out of fucking Discord, so I don't know what to tell you.
no, I thought I saw the actual sheet. So, but that might not have been it. You never know, man. So these fucking people doctor shit like before it even gets out there, and then I've seen this happen on a couple of podcasts that I watch. So where they get information on something, the information's legit when they get it, but then it find out after they actually talk about it, then it's fucking bullshit.
Yeah, totally possible.
Because it was doctored or something
Yeah,
like that.
totally possible.
So we'll have to wait and see.
There's
which one's
stuff
the
like this
actual legit
that
one.
happened out of the original Epstein leak. So
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, this sort of thing when people were looking for names and stuff like that.
Oh,
so
yeah.
so it's
Yeah, that's right. They doctored all kinds of shit in order to like get ahead of the news. So it might be. I don't know, man. But no, the casualty figures that I saw was Russians lost more, but not by much. So and then the civilian casualties were horrifying. So
civilian. I could absolutely
Yeah,
believe. Well,
so-
and I from the Ukrainians I've talked to, it's like, well, that's to be expected. They won't leave.
right, yeah. So I was like, well, what do you do when someone just squats in your fucking family room, and decides to fucking punch your dog? What do you do?
Yeah, and I mean that's the thing. So I mean, you could also look at how that's put out there. Like, do you count that? Like, because I imagine that there's a part of this where these same civilians are probably taking pot shots or whatever because they're not leaving the area. Do you count them as combatants? I don't know.
The
that could
Russians
be
have already said that they're going to do that.
right.
So, yeah.
So that could be one of the things that
Yeah.
totally fuck source the numbers.
This
So-
war is really fucking hard, man, because it's really hard to find good information on it. So, like some of the guys that even Taibbi was saying, he's like, I speak fucking Russian and I can't tell what's going on. So, because okay, so the Ukrainian side, very, very sophisticated about putting out bullshit information and it gets filtered into the media right away. But they're getting a little bit wiser about taking that. It's like, well, wait a minute, they launched 60 drones and you shot down 90 of them? Right.
right. Yeah, no, this is the same thing. Like when it comes to vote tabulation, it's like, well, this county has 2,000 people. It's like, yeah, it's like you have 2,400 votes.
Right, yeah, that's a problem. This is pretty obvious. So, but and then on the Russian side, everything is fucking propaganda. So, I mean, unless you go down to the Twitter level where you actually see Russian dudes talking, or YouTube. There's a couple YouTube channels out there that keep getting jerked, but the guys keep going back up there, and they're trying to we got that channel got banned, so we got to start a new one.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So because, so YouTube.
Shit, they were getting information out of China the same way.
Fuck yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, I don't know. But that kid who did that, man, I mean, it was kind of like, what's your story? So it'll take a while to kind of figure that one out.
Well, they already got him. So
You got caught fast, man.
Oh.
Apparently, Discord does not have a really good privacy
believe
policy.
this is, God.
So, you know.
You take one break from child grooming to actually release some worthwhile information, and you catch that guy, right? You have a whole bunch of people that are selling fucking bathtub HRT and grooming children. I'm like, but you catch this guy?
Yeah.
Dude, you think I'm kidding?
No, I know you're not kidding.
You see pictures of people selling this shit that has pubes in it. I'm like,
Gross,
Jesus
man.
Christ.
Yeah. So,
Dude, the look, half the fights I get into over trans issues.
Oh.
All right. That is the
I
lightning
can't stop
rod.
hanging out in that neighborhood, man.
No, it's
You just see you coming now.
it's the lightning rod of you know the hotbed to cause trouble, right?
I mean, when's that gonna fry out, man?
Okay.
It's got to be getting there. So
Well, so sympathy is rapidly falling off.
Yeah.
right? So there's a couple of blows against this that have really turned the table on this movement. Number one was the Hogwarts Legacy thing, because it exposed, like, you guys are the biggest fucking idiots on the planet. You guys went to die on this hill, and you know what happened? The world does not have your back. They want to act. It's
they
like
like Harry Potter.
it's like
Yeah.
you are not the army that people think you are, right? It's like that didn't help. The second thing was the shooting.
Oh.
Then after the shooting, within a couple of days, they caught the person here that was going to set off bombs in a school in this city.
Yeah, how legit was that?
Very.
Was it? Because like
They said they were that
she's not. The person doesn't even live here.
they said that this
So-
person was about 60% of the way there.
Yeah,
But it's enough to be like, what the fuck is wrong with you people?
yeah.
And there's the second backlash on this was that
Why were they going to come here though? I want the answer to that. Because
Well-
they don't even live here.
this is the same
Yeah.
thing where they have the manifesto of the Tennessee shooter, but they haven't released it yet,
Yeah. Okay.
right? So
That'll come out in a trial.
the second part, or it won't. It could be shut off. It
Well,
might not.
no, it depends on whether or not that whoever that person is actually goes to trial. So
Yeah,
you
there's
know, yeah.
look, it's up to them to actually decide. They said they were going to release it, but it hasn't, come out yet. But the other part on that has been the reaction to it, right? Where you have 6 people that got killed in that school, and the reaction on that side was, see what happened? Now people are after us more than ever. And the reaction should be, look, man, you shot 3 kids.
See, but you're talking about these like flashpoint issues.
That's how these things build.
It kind of does, but like the backlash that I see is specifically coming from the medical community and people in the individual.
Oh, that's part of it. Yeah.
Well, but you see that like when you have child psychiatrists coming out and start saying, whoa, 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 wait a minute. And when you get in all these stories about people who go through a transition and then a year and a half later.
Detransitioning.
Right, exactly. So that's more like the tide, and I think that's the part that's actually going out. So,
Well, okay, again, that's part of it too.
Yeah, okay.
So there's the way that this is breaking down now. Yeah, that's definitely a part of it,
Yeah.
right? And the fact that community has been actively trying to silence detransitioners,
exactly.
right, for a while, which is not working out in their
No.
favor. But what is happening is kind of like what I talked about before, where depending on the state, okay, so Florida has clamped down and said, like, you do this shit, you go to jail.
Yeah.
You go over to Washington, who said, if you deny your kids to do this passed,
Yeah.
the kid will be removed from your home.
Yeah. Oh man, this is just but see the whole thing, like that one in particular, and I mean it's basically straight lined into the Supreme Court. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
But
and it's gonna fucking die there. I mean, it bad. So I mean, you've got a Supreme Court now that, despite what a lot of people like to say, isn't really that far right of center. So,
No.
but it is definitely not left of center.
No.
So,
No.
and so that's not even a political issue at that point in time. It's almost a constitutional issue. So what are the rights of minorities? So, and something like this. And so, or minorities being people of minority age. So, it's just, it's absolutely going to go there. And
That state voted to pass that?
yeah, if you do not,
did the governor sign it?
I believe so.
How would parents vote to even have that as an option.
Well, I don't think they probably voted. It was probably the legislator put it through, or was it a referendum vote?
I believe it was a legislation thing.
Yeah, see, that makes a little bit more sense.
So people weren't allowed to vote for it?
But directly, no.
Well,
a lot of things don't.
I don't know if like here in Colorado. I mean, that would definitely be a referendum issue. So because that would be one of the things. I mean, I don't know exactly how it works here, but if you have something that's been passed by the legislature and it gets challenged, then it's basically stayed until we have a referendum vote on it. So, meaning that no, that's not the law until we actually all fucking vote on it. I don't know if Washington works that way.
I don't know. This is I'd have to look into that in particular, but yeah, at this point, that's where they're seeing is it's a fundamental right for a person to choose this, and if you don't support that,
I can't imagine one parent voting for that. Or I
really can't either.
Maybe like 1 out of
100.
Yeah.
What? Think about what it takes to actually get a dog or a cat taken from a house.
Yeah.
In terms of what you have to prove that.
That's one of the most lunatic things I've ever heard.
I don't disagree. Look, the big fights right now, okay, this is where the shit is coming to a head. This is where it's actually going on a state-by-state basis, and this is where, like, people are going to say, like, I can't live in a place like this, so it's a combination of that, and the big argument is whether or not schools have a duty to inform parents if their child is going through this kind of thing. Because there's a lot of districts there's a lot of like places in schools where it's like, if a kid comes out to you, we're not going to tell the parents.
Yeah, thankfully that's not happening here.
If a kid comes out and just says that they're thinking about it or that they're actually going...
You do not inform the parents.
How do the doctors not inform the parents?
Oh, that's true too. Yeah.
I'm telling, like, well, you got to remember that kids can't actually like transition at like 5 or 10 or whatever, right?
No, your parents would know about that.
Right? That would be something.
Your parents would almost have to be driving that at that point in time.
On the other hand, if you come out to your teachers and say that I am this, because you don't have to actually go through the process to quote unquote be another, gender, right? That is like protected by them, and they will not share that with your parents.
That's not going to last.
And that is absurd.
Dude, there's no fucking way that lasts. I'll put money on that. That's not going to last.
You go to parent-teacher conferences, and they tell you if your child's acting up, if your child's doing whatever.
They will not share that information.
But where?
It's a district-by-district basis. Look, man,
I mean, that's got to be just a handful of fucking weirdo districts in the country. So, I cannot see, like...
It is not a handful.
Okay, so is it like 10%? Is it 50%? So
shit, anything greater than 1% is ridiculous.
Well, I get that, but that's not informative. So
well, you got to remember, it's on a lot of these. It's district by district, state
Sure.
by state, right? So for me to go out there and say like, here's the U.S. map and say here's where it is. Look, I know that even
That's
District
what I'd like
11
to
is actually they're having discussions on this right now.
Yeah, no, I'm privy to all of those, and they're not as dire as you think they are.
No, their question is whether or not you're even allowed to address it.
Correct. Yeah, and so they're doing the what was the old
Don't speak, don't tell.
Yeah.
What is it? Don't ask, don't tell.
Yes.
Yeah, don't ask, don't tell. Paul.
Yes.
It's a placeholder at best,
dude. As far as I'm
but it does work as a placeholder.
I'm starting to get to the point where like, we were onto something with that.
With what?
With don't ask, don't tell. It's like, no, I'm not going to inquire about your sexuality, and you are not going to tell me.
Well, it was pretty straightforward because at that point in time, it was just basically put a rock on this for a little bit and then see where the country moves. And the country moved in a certain direction and the rock fell off. So, it might be...
That's pretty good, yeah.
Well, that's exactly what fucking Bill Clinton did. I mean, the guy wasn't dumb.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a dirtbag, but he wasn't fucking stupid. So, what I mean was, he's not actually dead yet.
So, no. But yeah, that's sort of... Well, but that's sort of like one of the big issues. That's where you're actually seeing individual legislation per states, and Florida did what they did. I mean, they made some really interesting changes to their legislation. That's one of them. The other one was death penalty by an 8-4 jury vote instead of unanimous.
8? Oh, that's terrible.
Wow.
That passed. That actually passed.
Oh, I'm not...
Death penalty by an 8-4 jury vote.
Well, wait a minute. That's the penalty. That's not conviction. That's different.
Well, so if you've been convicted,
okay, so that's still unanimous.
Well, okay, to get a conviction, yes. No. No, but to whether or not to enforce the death penalty.
Oh,
is
okay,
if
that's
it's
not as
8 to
bad as I
4.
thought it was.
Yeah, okay, so I got you right here, like, yo, man, you can't do that.
Yeah, exactly. Wait a minute. I'm pretty sure it says something about that in the Constitution, man. The
Population
last time I
control
checked
kind of
it, it has
pretty
been a couple of years, but I don't think it's changed.
Yeah. That was where they changed the actual, whether or not to enforce that. Like, they're going ham over there. They're trying to basically establish themselves as the anti-California.
Yeah, but I mean, they're gonna have a blowback on that as well when you move too far too fast. So
Yeah, you say that, and I got that, but it's
if enough people from California and New York fucking move there because
know,
they're
that's the
like better,
problem. I
then
know
you're
that's what
gonna
they're trying
lose
to
that.
do, is be
That's
like-
exactly what's going on in Texas.
Yeah,
So yeah, exactly. Texas
having
is
problems.
Texas is fine, man, but it's turning pretty purple.
Yeah,
So yeah, just like this state. This state is
You were
way purple.
never supposed to have to
So-
hold your breath about which side it was going to be in Texas.
Right, and so
Yeah.
there's an old guard in Texas that's still, Texas, but
Well,
that's a generation that's a timer that's ticking
Yeah.
down.
Well,
Yeah.
you're talking about, yes, they've sort of ceded the areas of Austin and San Antonio and declared it enemy territory, right?
Right.
It's a question of containment, but that can't last,
Yeah.
right? Because then the question is, well, why doesn't this happen to California then?
It's probably going to happen.
I know Nixon came from there, and like, dude,
Well, it's easy.
Just
No,
watch
because
Southern
California, your money buys a lot more stuff there.
Yeah, sure.
You can't come from Montana and be like, I'm gonna.
Oh, yeah,
make
Yeah,
it
it's a
big.
one-way door.
Yeah,
man.
so it can't afford infiltration back in.
Well, it'll take.
infiltration.
No, it will take it.
Eventually,
It
but
will
it's-
take it. It'll come from the south, though, and I mean south, the border south. So where the money comes up from there.
Okay. So you're talking about the new Republicans.
Absolutely.
white.
And that's why I'm
Yes.
telling you, man. In California, watch Southern
okay,
California.
okay,
I mean,
okay,
I've been
okay.
watching it the last couple of days where they've been having these
Ah.
like mini riots where people basically mob gas stations. So down there,
Did you see what happened in Chicago?
no, I know Chicago's fucked. So for a while,
But yeah, I've
it's
seen
new
the-
Detroit City. So but not as bad. But like I mean, the tone on this kind of shit in Southern California has completely flipped. So people fucking shoot those guys now.
Yeah.
And so, watch that because of course where the holdout city is. The one
Yes.
where apparently tech entrepreneurs stab other tech entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
That was not what I expected to see.
No. That was some like fucking Columbo shit.
Yeah,
I
you
was like,
expect this like
what?
raving homeless guy. And it's like, oh wait, that guy was trying to get money out of it.
What's going on here?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
anyway, that's your holdout, and I think the rest of the state is starting to take a look at that and say, nah,
This ain't working.
nah, yeah, and so and I don't know what's going on in Portland and Washington.
Well,
my
so
my
I'll-
understanding is that Washington's actually a little bit better than Portland now.
So my understanding.
yeah.
Well, I'll give you the update on Chicago. This was you have to watch. I think there were multiple people shot, tons of injuries. Basically, like if you look at downtown Chicago on Saturday,
It's a war zone.
right? Well, and
Yeah.
so the question is like, where'd this come from, right? And the answer was nothing, right? This was the thing was I'm sitting there like I'm seeing the footage of this, and downtown is getting torn apart, right? And I'm like, do we have like a police shooting or something like that? No, it was just a Saturday.
No, it's just Saturday. Yeah. Yeah. No, like I got a lot of family from that area too, and they have all left for the mitten of Red Sanctuary. Well, there's actually two of them. One of them goes this way, the other one goes this way, right next to each other. So, and Chicago's like in the middle of that, and so people go whichever way they want. So,
All right. Yeah. So that's.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Any final?
Yeah.
Go Nuggets, go ass.
Ass,
Go
yeah.
Nuggets, go ahead.
Yeah.
Full
All right.
playoff mode.
Yeah.
I'll take it. Rockies are playing again. They
suck.
suck earlier than usual. Yeah, they suck earlier than usual, which I find refreshing.
They reached their peak at 2-0.
It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't even 2 games, man.
That's
So
it.
into the fucking season.
They're gone.
So yeah.
They're done. They almost had a perfecto thrown against them today.
Yeah. Oh really?
Yeah.
Wow.
They went into the 7th inning.
Oh, I'm gonna have to call my mom. So, all right. It is rough. All right, I'm Pat.
I'm Will.
Jeffrey.
Jeff, how many Critters movies have you seen?
All of them.
Okay, hitting the button.
Did you hit the button? It says stop